So I'm going to show you everything I do in a day to live a longer and healthier life. Now, for the record, the ice bath isn't one of these. I just do this in the mornings to get me going because it helps my energy levels and gets me going for the day. 6 AM, the first couple of things here for the day is jump in the ice bath for 3 minutes and we'll see where we go. This is how I start my morning. Now it's time for my supplements. So I start with some marine collagen. I've got my AG1. There's vitamin K2 and D3 with that as well. And then I take a tablespoon of fish oils as well for my supplements. This is all I consume for the first couple of hours of the day. So it's the coffee and some water. I have 1 litre, which is about 35 ounces in there. It's not to introduce fasting or anything. It's just simply because I feel better doing it and I'm more focused with my work in the first couple of hours of the day when I avoid a large meal. But we're going to skip into the first meal of the day right now. So this is my first meal of the day and it involves 3 pretty simple things. One is going to be a double scoop protein shake. I use some skimmed milk to have with that. I'm going to have half a tub of blackberries here and then some carbohydrates are going to be from my cereal here as well.
Are you sure you're not hungry?
No, I'm good. I had a big old piece of cereal.
This is also my pre-workout meal, so making sure I am properly fueled. Also getting an adequate protein, because I've been essentially fasting for the last close to 12 hours, is a key start to the day here. So it's like 9 AM and that means it's time for exercise, walking and sauna for me. I don't like exercising first thing. It takes my body a bit of time to wake up, so I do some work. I work from about 6 AM to 9 AM. Then the 9 AM slot for me is exercise. So it's going to be a 20-minute walk, then probably a 10K run today, followed by a sauna. But stay tuned for all of that and I'll show you what that looks like and give you the reasoning behind my strategy as well. So post run for me is a 20-minute sauna. Now I do this every single day. I do it post exercise or I do it pre-bed. There's a growing body of research to suggest that sauna is beneficial for cardiovascular health, mental health, decreased risk of death. Absolutely everything is positive and I'm hugely bullish on sauna work. There's also a dose response, meaning the more times you sauna, the more beneficial it is. And this is something that Dr. Rhonda Patrick has really pioneered as well in this space. Again, she has a lot of fantastic clips around this.
It really is a temperature dependent, duration dependent, but also frequency. So how many times a week, people are getting in the sauna. People that did 4 times a week, 4 to 7 was really the most robust effects. So if you're looking for the most robust effect, the minimum time would be 4 times a week, compared to 1 time a week.
This is my post-workout. Now, what I have here is 5 Hick chicken sausages, gets me like 35 grams of protein. I have 1 sesame seed bagel with some bacon medallions in here. The key part is the bacon medallions, not the fatty, streaky bacon that you're maybe accustomed to in the USA. We have slightly different options here. And I have the other half tub of blackberries from this morning. Now, some of this may be viewed as unhealthy. White bread isn't exactly a health food, but this is a very small portion of calories and it's what keeps me on track 90% of the time. Having things like this built in makes it sustainable and realistic for me, and I'll explain later in the video as to why that is so important. So just completed a 10K run. I will put the stats on the screen. The reason I build in runs or cardiovascular training is that VO2 max is the best predictor of mortality. Having a high VO2 max is the best predictor of how long you're going to live and how high quality of life is going to be as well from a physical perspective. So I try to train cardiovascularly 3 times per week. I do a variety of running. One day I'll do a longer steady state like today. I may do interval training at the weekend and then I'll do a shorter steady state like 3 to 5 mile run later in the week as well. That is my base. I stick to that most of the year. If I was pushing things, I would probably introduce maybe another interval style session, but I'm not. I'm pushing muscle building as a goal just now. More on that later. But that is the reason I have cardio training in there. It is so important. Don't skip it out. I know it's not always great fun and it can be pretty boring and tedious, but it is truly essential to live a longer and higher quality life. This is my afternoon snack. Now I have some of this variety Greek yogurt. I've got some protein powder in there. I've got half a pack of blueberries, and over to the side here I've got some creatine and some electrolytes. You could take this any time of the day in terms of the creatine and electrolytes. I just happen to be having them just now, but that's my light afternoon snack to get some high quality protein and fibre in. Being sedentary is a risk factor in and of itself for a multitude of health problems, so I'm going my second walk of the day, and I will finish off with a third one as well tonight, even though I've got plenty of steps from my 10k run. This is my final meal of the evening, so it's a salad, some white rice and some salmon. This is a pretty consistent framework. I rotate out the salmon for different things. Venison steak has been one of my favourites lately. Usually it'll be some form of red meat. Pretty clear that it's more nutrient dense and also pretty good for you if you get the right sources as well. Red meat is not cancerous, although some people may speculate that. And I wash this down with an Iron Brew Extra, which is a Scottish diet soda. And some of you may be raising your eyebrows at why diet sodas in a longevity video. Let me explain why in just a second. Now, let's look at some of the controversial things that I've done in this video, and I put controversial in brackets. I ate chocolate and I ate white bread. Yes, these two things are not very healthy on paper. They don't have a lot of micronutrients, they're low quality food, and that's okay. 90% of my diet plus is made up of whole, natural, high quality, high micronutrient dense foods, and this is the key part. Having things like the bagel in there or a bar of chocolate at night is what keeps me on track 90% of the time. I eat like this 12 months of the year. Consistently. I've been able to do that for years on end because I build a little bit of flexibility in to keep me sane. If you want to be perfect and aim for perfect, good luck, it's not for me. The second piece, I actually ate quite a lot of calories today, like almost close to 3,000 calories. The goal for me is to gain muscle currently. I'm in my 30s. One of the biggest predictors of your mortality is lack of strength and lack of muscle mass. My goal in my 30s is to absolutely maximize the amount of muscle mass that I can possibly gain genetically. And that is going to require gaining fat, gaining weight, and adding lots of calories in from time to time. And that's okay. I try to maintain a relatively healthy body fat, sub 20% year round, and I try to do it in a slow and gradual manner. But I do gain weight and I do gain fat, but that's a part of gaining muscle. The third is I consumed artificial sweeteners. I had some Iron Brew Extra, some diet soda. Some people will say this is carcinogenic. The WHO have it in the possibly carcinogenic category. I am not concerned about this. I don't think you should be either. When you actually look at the research, it's based in rodents and they overfed them a super physiological dose. So what does that mean? Basically, they fed them a dose that is really hard for a human being to get, or you're very unlikely to consume. I think the equivalent would be more than 40 to 50 cans of diet soda per day, which most people are not going to do. Too much of anything is bad for you. Too much oxygen can kill you. Too much water can kill you. Just because they completely overfed something and got a cancerous effect doesn't actually mean that something is cancerous in normal and physiological doses. To finish off the night, I'm going to go into my sleep cycle and my sleep routine, which I'll show you right now. To finish off the night, I go into a sleep routine. So I go and shower, which helps raise your core body temperature and helps promote a restful and deep sleep. You can use a sauna here as well in the evening, but I typically just shower as I sauna earlier in the day. Then I use the 3-2-1 method for sleep, which means I cut food 3 hours before bed, I cut water 2 hours before bed, and I cut stimulation 1 hour before bed, meaning things like work, emails, phone screens, scrolling through social media. I cut all that out 1 hour before. The room is dark and cool. The lights on at the side are the only ones that go on. We don't put these overhead lights on. Again, it then simulates daylight. Now I also sleep with a couple of things. I use an eye mask, I use some mouth tape, and I usually use some nose strips as well, but I have just ran out of them just to help my breathing. With my Whoop scores, it shows significant improvement wearing the nose strips and the mouth tape. So an interesting point. And I finally finished the night off with my supplementation, which includes a couple of things. I'll put the dosages on the screen. So I use a magnesium supplement to finish off the night. I use L-theanine, apigenin. I also use a vitamin D3 supplement, and I've also started subbing in ashwagandha as well for help with stress management. So that's how I finish off the night, and that's my wind down routine. If you enjoyed this video, off to the side is going to be how I got abs in 8 weeks, the exact step-by-step nutrition, exercise and activity plan that you can implement into your own lifestyle as well.